Hey girl. It's the Hey Girl Hey podcast on Urban Media. Today we have special guest Portia Fox. Portia Fox in the building. Appreciate you for joining us, Sugar.
Hello.
Hey, Sugar.
Thanks for having me.
And my new friend, Beth Pettinger, Executive Director of the Citizens Police Review Board of Pittsburgh. So here's the thing. I always have a top 5 of friends that you need to have in your pocketbook. You need to have a mechanic. You need to know somebody in the news, like a weatherman or a news reporter. You need to have that person. A hairstylist is the person, or makeup artist. What else?
A lawyer.
A lawyer's good. A lawyer's good. And then you need to have somebody involved with the police. Either they are police or somebody involved with the police. So I got my top 5. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you, Miss Beth, for being here. I appreciate you.
I got 2. Me and Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes. That's all I need.
Shut about a Hyundai. Come on now.
Call him.
Beth, thank you for being on the show. Sorry we've been cutting up. This is what we do every week.
This is awesome. This is just such a nice visit. It's just delightful. I'm so glad you asked me to join you.
I'm glad you said yes.
This is just so delightful. I mean, the last few weeks it's like this police reform storm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing but everybody wanting to do something to reform the police, and then more people doing stuff to try to reform the police.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And one thing that is noticeable to me, I haven't heard the police involved in trying to reform the police yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
We have this old thing like, nothing about me without me. And that's something that's kind of nagged at me as we're having all these discussions. Like maybe we ought to be hearing from them too, but we will eventually. I know we will at the board. But there were some pretty cool things that happened. The biggest thing impacting the board, of course, is that there was a referendum proposal adopted by council.
Mm-hmm.
So on November 3rd, we have got to get everybody out to vote in favor, to say yes to the referendum question on expanding the board's powers.
Okay.
And what that's going to do is the Home Rule Charter is like our local constitution. So what we put in there is expressing our values as a community. This is how we want to live. This is what's important to us.
Right.
And so if you're going to do anything here, you got to abide this, or all of our rules have to be consistent, right? So in the Home Rule Charter, the board was created back in '97. Since then, there's been a lot of change. There's been a lot of, we've taken the city to court several times. But there is now this proposal that requires all complaints about police misconduct to come to the board.
Mm-hmm.
So it means like the Human Relations Commission and the board, we have to establish a protocol to be sure that if a complaint comes to the Human Relations Commission or comes to us, we exchange it if there is reason to believe there's a civil rights violation in that complaint. That's a good thing. Because our civil rights laws are enforced by the Human Relations Commission, which is also the other independent board in the city of Pittsburgh. So we independents have to stick together because we're all we got, and we're not part of the city, the whole city thing. But that's it. There's also a requirement in this proposal that we conduct with the city controller a performance audit of the Bureau of Police as appropriate, as agreed between the board and the controller. It requires full participation of the Department of Public Safety, the Bureau of Police, and the Office of Municipal Investigations, which is the equivalent of the internal affairs. Like they conduct the inside investigations for the police department of police misconduct. But that they have to comply, participate fully in our investigations. And if an officer fails to fully participate, that will be just cause for discharge. That's important to have in there because there's no room with this stuff. This is like the top shelf set of rules. And we also protect the members of the board. We have 7 board members, and they serve 4-year terms each. So about 10 years ago, we had a little problem with the mayor at the time, a young Mr. Luke Ravenstall.
I remember him.
We were in court in front of the judge, come out of court, and the reporters are asking us, well, how do you react to the news that Mayor Ravenstall has removed 5 of your 7 board members? We said, wait a minute, that's retaliatory. That's crazy. He just wiped out 5 of our 7 board members. What are we supposed to do now? Well, they had a plan. They were going to replace with their own people. We said, hold up, you can't do that. So we spent the summer rewriting the city code so that we would, if a member of the board's term was up, they're sworn to stay until their successor's appointed. So we protected them by saying, if you weren't reappointed or nobody else was appointed within 30 days of your term expiring, you're automatically re-upped for a 4-year term as though newly appointed. So we protected them in that regard after the political whimsy that wiped us out.
Wow.
In this charter proposal, we have imposed a requirement for that the mayor cannot just remove at will a board member. There has to be cause, and that has to be, city council has to concur with that cause.
Right.
So now they're protected. Otherwise, they still could just be removed because that's what it says the mayor can do. Now it won't if this measure passes in November. So that's critically important. We need to get the people out. God willing, they will be out anyway because it is a presidential election. Make sure that city voters, approve that question for the review board. It'll be certified by August 3rd or 4th or somewhere around in there. After that, there will be a summary mailed to all the registered electors in the city of Pittsburgh explaining what this means. So watch out, look for that. We can come back and talk about it another time. I would love to.
Of course.
The other changes that were adopted on Tuesday include a banning of the chokehold, which was already in the city Bureau of Police policies. They've not been allowed to use a chokehold for a very long time. They also put in the city code a duty to, so if a cop sees another cop using excessive force or doing something else that's against policy, that the officer have to intervene and stop that. That too was already in Pittsburgh orders and police policies, but this puts it in as a city law. Yeah. Big difference from having a in-house rule and having a law.
Okay.
It also it is going to fund a Stop the Violence fund. Initially, it'll be funded with $250,000. And in 2021, it should be 5% of the Bureau. And by 2026, it'll be the equivalent of 10% of the police budget. And that is supposed to go towards social supports, human service supports. The theory that if we can fix this on the front end, if we can create conditions that are more conducive to personal, comfort and safety and wellness, then the need for cops to be coming into the neighborhood and stirring stuff up or having to come in to intervene in situations should be lessened. We'll see.
Right.
But that's the goal. We have a lot of needs, like Allegheny County Human Services is responsible for providing services to everybody in the county, right? That includes us in the city. There's it looks a little bit like there may be some replication here in the city trying to replicate what already exists. Nobody knows how that's all going to shake out, but there is talk about, having the social services or social workers supporting police, having police social work specialties. Our board chair is working on a curriculum to do just that over at Pitt. The Bureau of Police did have a social worker on staff. They started to develop that kind of support because these cops get called to things to solve problems that they are not competent. They're not capable of solving, particularly around behavioral health. So do something about that. And that's part of what this fund is going to, it promises to do. we'll see. It's not fully developed by any means. It was just approved. But some of the support services people need in the neighborhoods, affordable housing is another area. We all know what the president said yesterday about affordable housing, right? Yeah.
Well, I mute him. I don't know.
Did you see that, LaShawn? Did you see what he said?
I did not.
I
What
did.
did he say?
He said something. Okay, I remember. Go ahead. It was on Twitter. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I didn't.
about the suburban life.
That the crime will not be coming to to people in the suburbs. He said a whole bunch yesterday. I couldn't even watch it.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So
But he tweeted.
Yeah.
But the suburban life, he spoke about
yeah,
that.
the suburban life won't be. You can live your suburban life dream because those people won't be coming
to your
right. So those kinds of non-police related supports to be funded with the hope that will disrupt the reason for the police involvement to such a degree in many of our neighborhoods. It's not defunding the police, it's reordering our public safety priorities.
Right.
So, we still need police. I mean, we have a lot of evil out in the world. And can you imagine living without police? But there's a difference between policing groups of people and enforcing the law. So we have to change the way we think about what they do. And start to recognize there's a need, but there are many other needs that we ask them to fix that they're just not capable of doing. So we need to supplant all of that and get a cadre of people out in the neighborhoods that can help people solve daily problems, get the supports in there that they need, make sure the kids are okay, make sure hunger and homeless is taken care of, all of those natural things that used to be part of the safety net that got torn up.
Beth, you and I were talking off mic about the idea of them cutting the police budget. That's what was mentioned on this, the approved overhaul measure.
Right.
I don't think that I disagree with that because I don't think that it helps the solution. I think it worsens the problem. I think it makes the problem a lot worse. But there are people who want to be a part of the solution, as I've said before in conversation. They want to be a part of the solution. And if they want to join the police force, they can. And so that leaves eager people who want to be a part of change out, but those who don't want to accept change in and taking advantage. So what can the community do? Because if that part is grouped into that approved measure, what can the community do if they oppose of that part?
Yeah, well, the hiring freeze that was requested, they're gonna keep going back and looking at that because that was not a real popular. Well, it passed. I think it was 6-3.
Yeah. Yes.
So there are 3 council members that are really concerned about that part too. We also have a whole bunch of cops that are gonna they're ready to retire. So how that's all going to work out, I don't know. I share your concern. I think it's important that people let city council know. At the board, if people have concerns, you can let us know.
Okay.
There's this task force on police reform that the mayor appointed. I'm not quite sure what they're doing. I know that we are scheduled on Monday, August 10th to meet with them and share some of the work we've done over the last 23 years because we've done a whole lot of it. One of the major issues I've heard them talking about, and it comes to what you're mentioning, is the recruitment, the problem of recruitment and having the diversity. My brother from another mother, Tim Stevens, he and I worked for a long time on that recruitment issue. And on some other things like a special prosecutor, so that which the governor of Pennsylvania now they've adopted that, so that officer involved death or serious bodily injury, there will be a special prosecutor for that kind of an action, not the local district attorney.
Yeah, because it was always Steven Zapala that made all the.
That's right, and
all
that
the
was
time.
the problem, and that's the problem because there's that relationship that the cops and the DA have,
with the, yep.
Mm-hmm.
and that's constant. It's a conflict.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There was
Always.
one time in the past that the DA actually agreed with us, and that
He
was
changed his mind.
Well, did you remember the Jerry Jackson case in the Armstrong Tunnel back in 1995?
Oh my
April 5th,
goodness, you're-
1995. Jerry Jackson was shot dead in the Armstrong Tunnel, and it was a housing authority officer that initiated the whole mess and ended up killing Mr. Jackson. Well, there were cover-ups involved in that case. They were
Wow.
extreme. There were multiple cover-ups, people responsible for it. After several years and in an alliance with a couple of cops, of all people, we made a good team though, and we wanted a new investigation because of the new evidence.
Mhm.
But the cops that were in the tunnel that night were then working for the district attorney. We said, well, no, you can't investigate themselves. That was the only time that Zappala agreed with us, and he wrote to exercise the Commonwealth Attorneys Act that says you can ask the state attorney general to come in when your office is conflicted. And at the time, it was Thomas Corbett, who was the attorney general, who said, no, I don't agree that there's a conflict of interest. You go right ahead and do it whatever way you want. So that conflict continued, and
Right.
we need to do it a different way. So now today, the special prosecutor would be the one who would be responsible for handling that, so that you don't have the conflict between the local cops on the daily, partnership they have with the DAs, and so on. So that's another big change. And the governor also announced the creation of a law enforcement oversight commission at the state level, so that when it'll be out of the crime. Sorry, I don't remember the exact name, but it'll be out of an office, and it would have oversight for all law enforcement under the direction of the governor. So there are a lot of changes that have happened recently. And then the other thing that's huge is the database. There will be a database to record officers' work histories. Okay, whatever their disciplinary record may be, or if they didn't have a disciplinary record, but it now will be collected into a database in Pennsylvania for all cops, and prospective employers will actually have access to that. So you can't go from here to Scranton, and Scranton will not know your reputation on the job, unless you tell them. This database will take care of that. So somebody like Michael Rosfeld, who left with a bad
University of Pittsburgh,
a bad
He wouldn't
reputation
be picked
there.
up from another precinct.
Nobody, no. So East Pittsburgh hired him, but if this database was in place, that could have made a difference.
Exactly.
Wow.
We know with police that when people get in on the force, it's always because of someone that they know. Jobs and jobs like in downtown, some of those jobs in the county and all that are people that they know. That's how people get in. So that's always been the thing. So the police, it's hard for them to police themselves because they know that person. They got that person.
Their family.
And that person, their family.
Mm-hmm.
They think just like the way they think. And in the past, when they had said about, I know. I don't even want to throw out names, but there was one person on council that was saying that police should be live in the city of Pittsburgh. That should be an ordinance that they should live in the city of Pittsburgh.
Pay taxes in the city.
Right. And I get that to a certain extent, some of it, but if you're not hiring, it doesn't matter. You can say all this stuff, but if you're not hiring anyone that even knows the streets that they're guarding, what's the use?
Right.
What's the use?
Well, the courts are the ones that gave them permission, and that they could live outside the city. That was an FOP appeal in their union negotiation, and I
remember that.
Right, and so they have to live within 25 air miles of downtown.
Right. Yeah.
So draw the circle, and then you can live here, there, or the other thing. I mean, we end up potentially with the mercenary force. I mean,
what they were doing were buying houses in the city and then moving out in the suburbs. you would just own property in the city and you still lived in the suburbs. But that's some of the things. But one of the things that you were saying, Beth, and I just wanted to touch on that briefly.
Yes.
We were talking about people in council and some people being voted. I thought that they were voted in. You said they're appointed.
My board members. My
So
board members are appointed. They're appointed. 4 of them are from a list submitted by city council to the mayor, who picks a name for a seat and sends it back to council for their approval, and then they get seated. The others.
What's the criteria for that? Like, could I be on the council? I mean, how?
You live in the city?
You gotta wait for me. You gotta wait. I'm first. I'm first.
Yeah.
You gotta wait for me.
Girls,
Why can't
and
we?
there's
why can't
only
we get
7
together?
seats. There's only 7 seats, you guys.
What'd you say? What'd you
So
say?
there's only 7 seats. Y'all wouldn't get nothing done.
Well, there's only 4 you hear.
Yeah. But
Y'all wouldn't get any work done. Wouldn't no work get done.
Oh,
corruption.
I don't know. We got Cagney and Lacey right here.
We'd be having a blast.
Listen, Cagney and Lacey for duty.
Put them in a patrol car. Put them in a patrol car, both of them at the same time.
I think it's just so interesting that some of the things that you were talking about, Luke Ravenstahl, he hasn't been in office in years.
She was just reporting back to an old story, what he did.
But that was just part of the story. And
but
what
some of the things are still from his regime, right?
No, his history's pretty much erased.
Okay.
And you have to give Pittsburgh Bureau of Police some credit for changing their culture, their operational culture in the last 6 or 7 years. It is not the same police department we had 10 years ago.
Thank God.
Let alone 20 years ago when it was full of thump and batterers, right? They've changed their philosophy significantly.
Or the Brentwood police that killed Johnny Gamage.
Well, that was Brentwood.
So you're saying Pittsburgh. You're saying the Pittsburgh police. Here's my question. As a mother to a young Black male, and you and I have talked about this, Beth, before, I need to know, because you've said a lot, and I understand it. I comprehend it. Not everybody else can comprehend it. The thing that I want to know is my son going to be safe? With all these changes, will my son be okay? Will my nieces, will my nephews, will my cousins, will my brothers, will they be okay? Even my sisters, will we be okay? Will I be okay? So, are these changes made so, to save face for the police station, for the police, or are these to help better the community?
Oh, and also, I'm gonna add on to that, because I also know that the police union is a very big force behind any police situation that's going on, no matter what the council says. Right. I know that the union can come and overpower a lot of things, which is why Breonna Taylor's killers and Elijah McClain's killers are still out here on administrative leave getting a paycheck while they murdered somebody.
Well, look what happened when Jordan Miles was assaulted.
Right.
Yeah. Right?
That's local.
And then Leon, but I pray every day for the safety of everybody in this city, and I pray for the safety of the cops too.
Right.
I can say, did you all see the picture a month or so ago of the young man sitting on the curb with his sons and his hands up in the air?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Did you hear the rest of that story? Yeah, we talked about that, I think.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Because it was assumed one thing.
Right.
And the word got out and it was the wrong thing. And go ahead. What's this? Go ahead. We have 5 minutes, by the way.
Okay. So he was fearful and he was frightened because of the police stop. The cop was mortified because this man had his boys and himself sitting on the curb with their hands up because they were stopped by a police officer. The police officer was beside himself because he didn't tell them to do that. The father did. He told his boys, sit over there, put your hands up. He didn't want them to be hurt.
Right.
And that cop was beside himself because he had no intention of hurting anybody. He was offering them a ride home. He didn't know what to do. If it wasn't for body cam video, that could have been one of the most inflammatory incidents ever. Right. And it would have been,
a black eye for the police again.
and it would have been false.
Yep.
It wouldn't have been true.
Yeah.
So I do pray every single God's blessed day for all of us to be safe.
Yeah.
And when I talk to these cops and I talk to the people that are training the cops, that is their motivation as well. We have a different crew working with these young officers. There are some that we got to push out of here. We got to get them off the job.
Right.
But there are many, many more out there for all the right reasons. And some of them are young. I mean, where's our millennial, right? There's stranger danger, because the cops, they're not experienced. They don't know the people they're encountering, no matter what race or cultural background. They don't know, and the person that's being stopped doesn't know this cop, but has a lot of feelings about this cop, and it's just it could just be an explosive situation. So
miscommunication, no communication at all.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So we said a lot, we covered a lot, and of course we're down to our final 3 minutes. Beth, thank you so much for sharing this information. Real quick, can the community be a part of any of the meetings? How can
Absolutely
get in touch with you? Give us all the deets.
Okay, we have a phone number, and we have a website, cprbpgh.org. Our phone number is 412-765-8023. And our meetings are on Zoom, and we do post that link on our Facebook page. And I will send you a copy of that link for the next meeting too.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any ideas, suggestions, you have my cell phone number. You can share that with our girls here.
Okay.
and if you have any thoughts, ideas, comments, suggestions, criticisms, share them with me. Just tell me. I need you to tell me to keep us going in the right direction.
It's not snitching, it's helping. It's not, so folks will be like, oh, you snitching. No, it's not. I'm tired of everything happening, and there needs to be some type of change. And so if you have someone that's connected to the community and someone that can be a part of that change, then take advantage of that. Not take advantage, but be a part of the problem, be a part of the solution and not the problem. So thank you so much, Beth. We appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Portia, for being a part of the show.
It was a great time. Thanks, guys. Always had fun.
No problem. So how can we hear past episodes? How can people find us? This is I'm gonna sit back and let y'all be great.
I'm always great.
Girl, you know what?
I stay great.
While she's loving herself, go ahead, Jerry. How can you hear past episodes?
Yeah. Episodes of the Hey Girl Hey podcast. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Live 365, TuneIn, Anchor FM, Podbean, and SoundCloud, and UrbanMediaToday.com.
Thank you so much. And
awesome.
Miss America.
And you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you can call us and you can email us. Thank you for the letters that we received today.
Thank you. Email address, theheyGirlHeyPodcast@gmail.com.
Wait, is that THEE or is that THE?
It's just THE. I ain't want to be like THE. I ain't want to be like the. I mean, we are the. We are the Hey Girl Hey Podcast, because there's a Hey Girl Hey Podcast, but we are
the Hey Girl Hey.
Hey Girl Hey Podcast. Okay. Anyway, I did.
You can see us on YouTube too.
Because
love the YouTube
videos. Because millennials is going to type in THEE, the Hey Girl Hey Podcast.
You guys are the worst spellers ever.
Well, no, I'm actually a pretty profound speller, but I'm
She's
just saying.
pretty good.
Oh my God.
Megan Thee Stallion is Megan the Stallion, but it's THEE, but it's Megan the Stallion. You have to spell it out.
Got it.
She got like thee, thou, like King James English. Okay.
Oh God.
Oh, bless your heart.
I can't. I'm your radio chick, Kiki Brown.
Jesus.
I'm your radio chick, Kiki Brown.
And I am the chatter chick, LaShawn Tipton.
And I'm your millennial, Jerry Tipton.
Did we give Miss Beth a name, a chick name?
No.
The citizen chick.
I like it.
I like Silver Fox chick.
Silver Fox chick? How you like that?
She's
And
like,
she did a hair flip.
and she did the hair flip, right?
Yeah,
Right. She said,
that's what the white girls do, right?
Right.
That's what my staff told me. They said, you're doing what that's a white girl problem.
That's a white girl problem.
All right.
I get it
No,
sometimes
it's
too.
not.
I was going to
I
say,
got it,
Sean, you got me.
Thank
Yeah,
you
just a
all
little
so
bit.
much for listening. Thank you for watching. Urban Media Today Talk Sports is next. It's the Hey Girl Hey podcast on Urban Media Today.